Hey everyone, Richard Bass here from Thriving with Richard Bass. Today we're tackling one of the most frustrating daily battles for parents of ADHD children homework. If you spend hours fighting with your child to complete 20 minutes of assignments, if homework time regularly ends in tears and frustration, or if you're exhausted from being a constant homework enforcer, this video is for you. As a special education teacher for over a decade and author of several parenting books, including the ADHD Parenting Guide for Girls and the ADHD Parenting Guide for Boys, I've worked with hundreds of families struggling with homework. The good news is that homework battles aren't inevitable when you understand how ADHD affects this specific task. In the next few minutes, I'll share 5 evidence based strategies that transform homework from a nightly nightmare into a manageable routine. These aren't quick fixes, but sustainable approaches that work with ADHD brains instead of against them. Let's start by understanding why homework is particularly challenging for ADHD children. Homework requires almost every skill that ADHD impacts: sustained attention, organization, time management, impulse control, working memory, and the to initiate tasks independently. After a full day of managing their ADHD symptoms at school, children come home mentally exhausted. Asking them to immediately focus on homework is like asking someone who just ran a marathon to sprint another mile. Additionally, homework typically lacks the structure and immediate feedback that helps ADHD children succeed. There's no teacher providing redirection, no classmates creating energy, and no immediate reward for completion. Let me share a typical scenario. 9-year-old Jake arrives home from school, already depleted from holding it together all day. His mom immediately reminds him to start homework. Jake says he will, but gets distracted by his dog, a toy, and 3 other things. An hour later, homework still isn't started. Mom is frustrated, Jake is defensive, and the battle begins. This pattern damages the parent-child relationship, increases everyone's stress, and still doesn't result in completed homework. The key is understanding that Jake isn't being defiant. His ADHD brain needs specific supports to transition to homework successfully. So, what actually works? Here are 5 strategies based on neuroscience and classroom experience. Strategy 1: create a consistent homework routine with built in regulation time. ADHD children need predictability, but they also need time to decompress after school before focusing on academics. The biggest mistake parents make is trying to start homework immediately after school. Instead, build in 30 to 60 minutes for your child to regulate through movement, snack, and unstructured play. This isn't wasted time, it's essential preparation for focus. Then establish a consistent homework start time. Not when I tell you or after you finish your snack, but the same time every day. This creates a neural pathway that makes the transition to homework easier over time. I worked with a family whose 10-year-old daughter, Emma, fought homework every evening. We implemented a routine where Emma came home, had a snack while telling her mom about her day, spent 30 minutes outside riding her bike, then started homework at 4:30 every single day. Within 2 weeks, Emma was initiating homework on her own because her brain and body knew what to expect. The regulation time wasn't a reward for good behavior, it was a necessary part of making homework possible. Strategy 2: break homework into smaller chunks with movement breaks. ADHD children cannot sustain focus for the same duration as neurotypical children. Expecting them to sit for an hour of homework without breaks sets them up for failure. Use a timer to create work sprints. For younger children, this might be 10 to 15 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute movement break. For older children, you might extend to 20 or 25 minutes of work. During movement breaks, children should actually move. This might mean jumping jacks, running around the backyard, dancing to a song, or shooting baskets. Movement helps reset their attention system. Marcus, an 8-year-old in my class, would shut down during homework and refuse to work. His parents implemented 15-minute work periods with 5-minute movement breaks. Not only did homework get done faster, but Marcus's attitude completely changed because he knew breaks were coming. Strategy 3: modify the homework environment to support ADHD brains. Where and how your child does homework matters enormously. Some ADHD children need a quiet, distraction-free space. Others actually focus better with some background noise or music. Experiment to find what works for your child's specific brain. Consider these environmental modifications. Provide fidget tools like stress balls or textured objects to keep hands busy while the brain focuses. Use a standing desk or allow homework at the kitchen counter instead of sitting. Offer noise-canceling headphones if household sounds are distracting. Keep all homework supplies in one designated place so your child isn't constantly getting up to find things. Use a timer visible to your child so they can see how much work time remains. Sarah, a 7th grader, insisted she could do homework in her room but never completed it. When her parents created a homework station at the kitchen table with a wobble cushion, fidget tools, and a visual timer, her completion rate went up from 20% to 80%. Strategy 4. Use the right kind of support without doing the work for them. ADHD children need more support than neurotypical children, but there's a fine line between helping and doing the work for them. Break multi-step assignments into single steps. Instead of complete your math worksheet, try do problems 1 through 5, then we'll check them together. This prevents overwhelm and provides built-in success points. Help with initiation, which is often the hardest part for ADHD brains. Sit with your child while they start the first problem or write the first sentence. Once they're engaged, you can often step back. Use visual supports like checklists that show each assignment and allow your child to physically check off completed work. This provides the immediate feedback ADHD brains crave. For children with working memory challenges, be the external memory. If the assignment is to read a chapter and answer questions, help them find the questions first so they know what to look for while reading. 10-year-old Olivia would start homework assignments but forget what she was supposed to be doing partway through. Her mom started writing each step on a sticky note. Olivia would complete step 1, remove that note, and see exactly what came next. This simple modification eliminated most of their homework frustration. Strategy 5. Separate completion from perfection and focus on effort over outcomes. ADHD children often develop perfectionism or give up entirely when work feels too hard. Both responses make homework battles worse. Communicate with teachers about reasonable accommodations. Many teachers will accept modified assignments for ADHD students, like answering half the math problems or doing an oral report instead of written. Celebrate effort and completion, not just perfect work. If your child struggled through homework but finished it, that's worth celebrating even if some answers are wrong. They're building habits and perseverance. Time box homework. Decide with your child's teacher on a reasonable maximum time for homework. If that time passes and work isn't complete, stop anyway. Send a note to the teacher explaining the effort made. Pushing past reasonable time limits damages learning and increases homework resistance. I worked with parents whose 12-year-old son, Alex, would spend 3 hours on homework that should take 45 minutes. He'd erase and redo work constantly, becoming increasingly frustrated. We implemented a 1-hour time limit for homework. Whatever was done in that hour got turned in. Initially, Alex panicked about incomplete work, but his teachers were supportive. Within a month, Alex was completing more work in the hour because he wasn't stuck in perfectionism loops. More importantly, the family had their evenings back and homework was no longer destroying their relationship. Now let's address some common challenges parents face with these strategies. What if my child still refuses to do homework even with these supports? First, make sure basic needs are met. Is your child hungry, exhausted, or overwhelmed from their day? Sometimes refusal isn't about homework, but about depleted resources. Consider whether the homework load is reasonable. If your child is spending hours on homework every night, despite supports, that's worth discussing with teachers. ADHD children often need reduced homework loads, and many teachers are willing to accommodate when approached respectfully. What if my child can focus on video games for hours, but can't focus on homework for 10 minutes? This is classic ADHD and not willful defiance. ADHD brains seek stimulation, and video games provide constant stimulation and immediate feedback. Homework typically provides neither. This doesn't mean give up on homework, but it does mean recognizing the neurological reality. Build in the supports we've discussed and don't compare video game focus to homework focus as if they're equivalent tasks. Should I use screen time or rewards to motivate homework completion? This can work short term, but often creates problems long term. Children learn to do homework only when there's a reward, and you have to keep increasing rewards to maintain motivation. Instead, focus on natural consequences. Homework gets completed, then the evening belongs to your child for activities they enjoy. The reward isn't for doing homework, it's the natural result of finishing responsibilities. How do I get my child's teacher on board with modifications? Approach teachers as partners, not adversaries. Share what you're learning about your child's ADHD and ask for their input. Most teachers genuinely want to help, but may need specific suggestions. Document what's happening at home with homework. If your child is spending 2 hours on 30 minutes of homework, that's important information. Teachers may not realize the struggle happening outside school. Here are some red flags that indicate you need additional support. If homework battles are severely damaging your relationship with your child, if your child is developing anxiety or physical complaints about school, if homework is taking significantly longer than the teacher intended, or if your child is unable to complete homework even with maximum support, it's time to seek additional help. This might mean requesting a formal evaluation if your child doesn't have one, asking for a 504 plan or IEP modifications, consulting with an ADHD specialist, or considering whether medication might help with homework focus. Remember that homework struggles aren't a reflection of your parenting or your child's intelligence. ADHD creates genuine barriers to homework completion, and your child needs specific strategies to succeed. Let me share one final success story. The Johnson family was ready to give up on homework entirely. Their 8-year-old twin boys with ADHD would fight, cry, and refuse to work. Homework time was destroying family peace every single evening. We implemented all 5 strategies: a consistent routine with regulation time, work sprints with movement breaks, modified environment with fidget tools, appropriate support without doing the work, and time limits with focus on effort. It wasn't perfect immediately. Change takes time and consistency. But within a month, homework went from a 2-hour battle to a 45-minute routine. Within 2 months, the boys were initiating homework on their own because the structure supported their success. Most importantly, the family had their evenings back. Parents could enjoy their children instead of fighting with them. The boys felt capable instead of constantly failing. Your ADHD child can succeed with homework, but they need the right supports. These 5 strategies provide the framework, but remember that every child is unique. Pay attention to what works specifically for your child and be willing to adjust. That's all for today. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to Thriving with Richard Bass. Drop a comment below sharing your homework challenges and successes. What strategies have worked for your ADHD child? What are you still struggling with? I read every comment and your experiences help other families. See you in the next video.